What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, we're gonna talk a little Anthony Joshua again this morning. I know I'm going a little Anthony Joshua happy over the last couple of days, but it is what it is, man. News comes out and I cover it, man. I find it interesting, and Anthony Joshua used an interesting phrase today, man, to announce his bouts at Wembley Stadium. Now, of course, we knew the dates of his next two fights that they wanted to have. I think September 22nd and April 13. April 13 being the date that they're holding out, that they're quote unquote wanting to have the Deontay Wilder Anthony Joshua bout. I will believe it when I see it. But those are the two dates. But in announcing this, he uses an interesting phrase, and I can't. It sounds like Anthony Joshua has joined the LDBC. World champion Anthony Joshua becomes the fourth lion in Wembley Den. British heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua says Wembley just added a fourth lion to the den as he committed to staging his next two bouts at the historic stadium. Wembley is a historic home to the England football team whose nom de jour is the Three Lions. So anyway, I thought that was funny, man. He's a lion in a den. He's a boxing in the lions. He's a boxer in a lion's den. But it is what it is. I know I'm just kind of playing there. But as far as who he fights and when he fights, so what? That's my take on it. So what? Unless you're going to, at this point in time, man, there's no coming back. I don't really care about, the historic. Everything's historic, right? Everything's historic. Everything that happened before today was historic. So, hey, it is what it is. He's going to fight, whoop-de-doo, pretty much, for me. I don't care whereabouts happen. This could be held at the MGM Grand or the Staples Center or the O2 Arena or Principality Stadium, wherever it is. Who cares where it's gonna happen? Anything past a place where you have a venue where you have more than 10,000 seats, you're not going to be able to see the fight. The vast majority of the people aren't even going to be able to that are buying tickets aren't even going to be able to see the fight. So Eddie Hearn has hinted that they're going to expand the capacity of Wembley Stadium to try to take in 100,000 people. I'm sure that would be good for Eddie Hearn, seeing as he's going to have to scalp that many more tickets, seeing as the UK. And I'm telling you, man, I really do love the way that the UK government and boxing fans in the UK really try their best to prevent promoters from gouging sports fans because, here in the United States, they don't care, right? You can charge whatever you want to charge for whatever it is. You can charge if they'll pay that much, the price goes up. They're fine with it. They would never do what the UK has done with StubHub and what Wembley Stadium has done with StubHub and O2 Arena has done with StubHub and eliminated them from restricted the amount that they can mark up tickets on the secondary ticket market. I think that that's a really, really good thing. It shows that they really do care, or at least they know or they are willing to placate to their sports fans. And I'm sure seeing as, one-off fights or two fights a year in Wembley Stadium really isn't the driving economic force in the for their dollar. I'm sure it's a good event and they're going to make a good amount of money on it. And I'm happy for them in that regards. But I'm sure that the England football team, the Three Lions, are carrying the bulk of that load, and the fans, the soccer fans, and whatever else kind of fans that show up to Wembley Arena are really happy that those guys are willing to do that. But as far as boxing goes, I've been to boxing matches. The boxing ring is very small, right? It's not a very big boxing ring. somewhere somewhere between 18 and 24 square feet. So 18 to 24 square feet, and you're sitting up, you're the top row. You're pretty much watching it on the jumbotron, and are there for you're there for the environment and to sing, as what I think they sing Sweet Caroline in the UK. So I'm sure it's a a magnificent experience for people that like to be in big crowds, and a big money making opportunity for Wembley Stadium. All fine and good, but it's just not. I can take or leave it watching boxing matches when I can't be within, the first 30 rows, 30, 35 rows in a boxing match, because you really can't see. But it is what it is. And I'm happy that they're having the event. But here's the thing, man. You ain't no lion in the lion's den, dude. Okay? It's kind of more like, God dog, you're paying to see the squirrel. Because not interested in seeing these fights, man. Alexander Povetkin and Dillian Whyte, because that's who I would believe. That's who I believe the bouts are gonna what fights are gonna happen. If it's up to Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, they've announced the venues for Alexander Povetkin and Dillian Whyte. You know what I mean? Like, because I have a hard time believing that even on April 13th that they're gonna want to face Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder's now saying, "Look, man, with all this drama, it's 50-50, man." And the fact that he's announced their venue already that could work into the favor of Deontay Wilder. And I wouldn't have a problem with this fight being in Wembley Stadium if it was Deontay Wilder. And because then, man, you really are. I mean, you're fighting you're getting in there with a fight that somebody it might wonder what is going to actually happen. Anyway, it is what it is. I'm wondering what's going on with this. Still, Alexander Povetkin fight has not been. It's not been announced. The venue for the fight has been announced through Wembley. However, according to the manager for Alexander Povetkin, they're still trying to figure out where the fight's going to be held. They're still arguing about whether it's going to be in Wembley Stadium, or whether it's going to be in Russia, or whether it's going to be in the UK, or whether it's going to be in Russia. So, this announcement, I don't know what this really says, because, if he's guaranteed to be in Wembley and they push it to a purse bid because Povetkin's people don't like the money, then what does that put the fight, right? Does it put it in, is it a situation where Anthony Joshua will vacate the belt? If Anthony Joshua vacates the belt so that he doesn't have to fight Alexander Povetkin outside of Wembley, what does that say about Anthony Joshua after all this other nonsense that took place with Deontay Wilder? Just doesn't speak very much. It doesn't speak very highly of him as a champion. And it seems to me as if, even with this announcement, that Anthony Joshua is really interested in being the heavyweight champion of the UK. And there's British Commonwealth titles for that. You know what I mean? At a certain point in time, man, this dude's going to need to get out of the UK if he's going to be if he's really going to be considered a world champion. I mean, obviously he's a world champion because he won the belts, but and he's got the titles. And it is fair enough to say that there are professional boxers that have never fought outside of the United States. I'm not sure if Floyd Mayweather early on in his career might have left the United States, but when he got, when he was doing the huge pay-per-view numbers and all that stuff, I mean, he was doing all those fights in Vegas, but I just don't know what to think. I just don't know what to think about this guy, Anthony Joshua. For you to pass up $50 million, you signed back-to-back fights in the UK before you know who you're fighting. You pass up a $50 million. You pass up a $50 million deal. None of this really speaks very highly for this guy, and it doesn't speak lion. I don't keep up with football. Being in the United States, it's called soccer. I just don't keep up with it, so I don't know how good the teams are that that play in Wembley. But if this is the type of lion that they are, man, those are some subordinate male lions, man. That's some straight That's some straight suck. That's some soft lions, man. Some real soft lions. Anthony Joshua needs to get up out of the UK, fight in the United States of America if he wants to really, you know, be the world. Yeah, well, yeah. I see. I hate making arguments that I don't 100 believe. I do believe that it's possible for him to be a world champion and not leave the UK. The desire to for him to come, not my desire for him to come to the United States, but the need to come to the United States for him really is just if he wants to maximize his dollar, his money, right? Because that's the real appeal to it. Do you want to make as much money as you possibly can be, that you can make? But I got to also extend to him like, hey, you know, just like I say with Deontay Wilder, if he wants to sign, if he wants to pass up on the deal that Eddie Hearn made him, then that's fine. I don't have an issue with him passing up that deal. That's his business, right? If with that amount of money, as long as he's negotiating to still try to unify the belts. If Deontay Wilder was saying that he really didn't want to face Anthony Joshua, and you know he didn't want the fight and was acting like he didn't want the fight, then I would have an issue with him. If the problem with Anthony Joshua, and I don't know whether it's Anthony Joshua or Eddie Hearn, but they're one unit, so really it can apply to both, is that he's acting like he doesn't want the fight. And since he doesn't want the fight, or he's acting like he doesn't want the fight, that's my problem with him and whether or not I think this dude is really wants to be the champion. Because right now, he's not the champion. He's a belt holder. And quite honestly, and I've said this before, he's somebody that's holding Tyson Fury's belts. You know what I mean? So anyway, it is what it is. We'll see what these dates are. Whether or not they're just another way to milk the UK public and, hold on to the belts a little bit longer in his, in that 8-fight plan, the plan Eddie Hearn has for him to, have a Klitschko-like reign over the heavyweight division, right? Which is already out of the window, by the way, because you can't have a Klitschko-like reign being known for ducking people and talking about freezing people out and not wanting to hype fights and having people, all this nonsense that he's doing. But anyway, it is what it is. Congratulations to the UK fans who want to sit in those nosebleed seats. You'll have another 2 opportunities not to watch the fight, but be able to buy some overpriced hot toddies, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it is what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.